so he'll be able to achieve attacks like this. Hello guys, it's Alan the Collector back with another action figure review, and we have a special one. We're taking a look at the NECA Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles the Movie Ultimate Tatsu action figure. And quickly taking a look at the packaging, I really dig the metallic finish that we're getting here on the cardboard. It really catches the light well. And then we get an image of Tatsu right in the middle, front and center, bathed in red, flanked by 2 rows of Foot Clan Ninja. Just below that we get the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle movie logo, followed by Tatsu's name. And then when we flip it to the back of the packaging, we get a lot of really cool product shot images where you can recreate some of your favorite moments from the film and maybe some moments that didn't exist at all. On the side of the packaging, we get Tatsu's name written in black, followed by a Japanese Oni symbol. On the top, the same thing, just written in red. And then when we get to the bottom of the packaging, as always, we have to give a shout out to the folks at NECA responsible for making this figure. It did the Foot Clan proud with this one. And then finally, when we get back to the front of the packaging, we have a Velcro flap that opens to reveal Tatsu along with a bunch of movie-inspired accessories. He sure looks fun, but this guy was a bit of a pain to find in stores, so let's go ahead and crack him open to see if he was worth the stress of the hunt. And now that we have Tatsu out of the packaging, I have to say, for a figure that looks this grumpy, it makes me really happy. From the head sculpt right down to the soft goods, there's a lot of tender love and care that was put into this figure, and the accessories only sweeten the deal. So what do you say we go ahead and take a look at them? And Tatsu here comes with a pretty decent spread. We get a training sword, a sword and sheath, 5 sets of hands, a screaming head sculpt, an open fan, a closed fan, a crumpled foot ninja mask, and an Oni mask. And getting back to the Tatsu figure, I think this is easily one of NECA's best action figures yet, at least in the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle line, and that's not just hyperbole. There's a lot of things that this figure is doing that NECA has never come close to achieving in other action figures they've created. But let's start with this head sculpt up top. There's a lot of people saying that this doesn't really read as Master Toshishiro Obata's likeness, but I'm not one of them. It clearly to me looks like Tatsu as he appeared in the film, and a lot of that has to do with the digital printing that we're getting on his face. I think it's been applied very clean, and it really helps to elevate the sculpt that we're getting underneath. I love the look of his scowl. The lips and his mustache also came out pretty clean, as did his eyes and his eyebrows. When we get to the back of his head, even though he's bald, we get a little bit of a shadow to indicate that his hair is definitely growing. And I like how we get some rosiness in his cheeks and in his ears, really giving to the lifelike feel of this figure. I mean, I can just hear him making those grunts right now. But it's just below the neck where this figure really begins to shine. We get this sculpted overlay connected to this sculpted waistband here in the middle. When we go to the back of it, we can really see a lot of the details. It's molded in a dark gray plastic, and then we get some dry brushing of black. I also like how we get these silver accents here at the shoulders. We get this almost waffle-like pattern, and then sitting on top of that, we get a black Oni symbol. I really like the pattern that they were able to capture on this gi. We get stripes of orange, purple, and red, and this added touch of the Oni symbol that's been stained into the sleeves of this gi. In fact, we can see that Oni symbol is everywhere on the top portion of this figure. That's a detail that I didn't notice in the film. It's those tiny touches that really bring this figure over the edge. And they didn't cut corners with the material of the gi either. It feels like it's made out of a pretty sturdy fabric, and the stitching doesn't feel like it's gonna fall apart anytime soon. We also get some equally impressive pants. They're completely made out of a soft good, and then we get this black and gray striped pattern that has this really cool metallic sheen to it, really capturing that look from the film. If you want, you can roll these pant sleeves up to reveal the sculpted pants underneath. They're very similar to the sculpt that we get with the Foot Ninja figures, but it's clearly different so that it better matches Tatsu's build. We get a black strap sculpt for his shins, and then his feet are similar to the Foot Ninja feet.
Never lower your eyes to an enemy.
Okay, I'll remember that, Master Tatsu. The best part about this soft goods is that not only does it make this figure look 10 times better, but it also doesn't impede the articulation whatsoever. When we roll up his sleeves, we can clearly tell that Tatsu here has a single jointed elbow.
Bummer.
You may think that's kind of lame, but it does have a decent amount of range. It gets past 90, which is a lot better than what I was expecting. Sure, you won't get the same range of motion as say with the double joints that you got with the Yoshi figure from the TMNT movie line, but it's gonna look a heck of a lot better. I mean, just check this out. Yeah, sometimes there's a good reason to take a step backwards. These double jointed elbows look kind of hideous in hindsight. But even though Tatsu here does lack double jointed elbows, he still maintains his double jointed knees. When we roll up his pants, we can clearly see them right here, and they move pretty smoothly as well. And the best part is you can get him in some cool poses so he'll be able to achieve attacks like this. I call that little move the Shungoku Tatsu. Get it? It's kind of a Street Fighter pun. Getting Hamato out of the way, it's clearly obvious that Tatsu here has a pretty lethal pair of fists, but you can really show his prowess with the martial arts when we get to look at some of his accessories. So first, let's go ahead and give his hands a little swap. I replaced Tatsu's fist with these open palm hands, so you can have him pose like this as if he's getting ready to block a move or push an enemy. Or perhaps with a little bit of posing, you can get him chopping an opponent down as well. And while these open hands are nice, like the fist, they won't really be able to hold anything, so that's why we need to hook him up with these pair of gripping hands so we can utilize some of his other accessories. Like this wooden sword perhaps, and I really dig the look of this. We have some yellow paint for the blade of the weapon, followed by these red stripes going up towards the tip, and then we get a little bit of white paint just to help accent it. We also get that same white paint for the handle, followed by some yellow paint for the hilt of the sword. Now the interesting thing here is that I'm pretty sure Tatsu never used any weapon of any kind in either of the Turtle films. This accessory must be inspired by Toshishiro Obata's real-life sword training weapons. On the little bit of research I did on Master Obata before this review, it appears that he is the inventor of the sword martial arts Shinkendo, which is totally wild. He even has an actual school in California where he trains students in the art form, which is pretty neat. So I'm guessing because of the lack of accessories NECA could include from the film, they went ahead and included real life accessories that you might find in a school. So while Tatsu does look cool holding it, like so, this might be better off in the hands of an actual pupil, like this Danny figure perhaps.
It's just Dan now.
Oh, sorry, Dan. I'm really glad I have this character in my collection even though he's a little too small, because I think he'll work really well with Tatsu anyway. Getting this out of his hands and putting it into Dan's here. You can actually have Dan hold this while Tatsu watches in disapproval. And I think this look works pretty well. But obviously if the pupil is going to have the wooden sword, Tatsu needs the real thing. So we'll put Dan out of the way here.
Good.
And then we'll bring in this really awesome looking sword. I can really get behind the wrapping that we're getting on the sheath here. It's painted in black, red, and purple. And then obviously it can unsheath to reveal some metallic silver for the blade, and it does catch light pretty well. I also dig the look of this black hilt, and then we get some gold accents for the handle as well. And just like the wooden sword, it will fit in Tatsu's hands pretty well. And with a little bit of patience, you too will be able to achieve poses just like this, or probably even better ones. This is just one I came up with really quickly of him getting ready to strike down an enemy, and I think it works. And then as for a sheath, if you don't want it just lying on the ground, what you can do is use this elastic band here, and you can slip it right in.
That's what she said.
So now you have a storage option for this sword if you so choose. If you want to switch up Tatsu's facial expressions, you can pop his head off and replace it with this screaming head. And just like that original head sculpt, I think NECA did a very great job capturing the likeness of Master Obata, which isn't the easiest thing to nail. This screaming head could work well with that sword, but you could also use it for this fan accessory that he comes included with. It's pretty simple, it's closed up and has a little bit of white paint on it, but most of it's just molded in a softer black plastic, and you're probably going to have a harder time fitting this in his hand as well. As you can see, he doesn't have the tightest grip in the world, so it probably will fall through, but he does come with another slightly open gripping hand that you might be able to wedge that fan in. And this closed fan isn't the most exciting accessory in the world. I have him holding it almost as if he's tapping it against his open palm, giving an order to one of the foot ninjas. But you can begin to spice things up with this open fan. It has a very intricate design here. I love the way NECA sculpted it. And just like his gi and the back of his uniform, we have that Oni symbol rearing its face again. I also like how this black paint isn't totally matte. It does reflect the light just a little bit, and then this white trim on the edge of the fan just really helps it to stand out. And once you have that open fan in hand, you can have Tatsu here striking cool poses like this. I think he pulls off this pose really well. Now, if we just get rid of Tatsu's fan, you can hook him up with this crumpled foot ninja mask. It's just molded in black plastic, and I really dig the silver paint for the eyepieces. I think the wrinkles and folds in it are pretty natural. Tatsu can't really do much with it other than hold it, but that's what it's intended for, so. There we go, not the most exciting accessory in the world, but if you like building scenes from the movie or different dioramas, I'm pretty sure you can find a cool use for it. But if you want a mask that can actually be used with this Tatsu figure, you won't go wrong with this Oni mask he comes included with. Again, this is something that wasn't in the film whatsoever. The paint came out on it really great. We get this glossy red paint, black paint everywhere where it matters, and then it's accented with gold on the horns, eyes, and teeth. When we get to the back of it, we have this plastic strap. It's pretty thin, so be careful when you're pulling on this to fit it over his head. You don't want to snap it. Get this out of his hands. Yep, I've got to admit, this mask looks pretty good on this Tatsu figure. It fits really well, it's not going anywhere, and with all that grunting Tatsu does in the film, it really helps to fit into this new Oni persona. And speaking of which, Tatsu, you have been grunting a lot during this review, so I think you need to take Casey Jones' advice and maybe hit yourself up with a little bit of Primatine, you know what I mean? You know, on second thought, forget I said any of that. Why don't we just take a little bit of a break and go to a size comparison, shall we? Standing at about 5'7" in real life, in the 7-inch scale, Tatsu's going to stand around 6 inches tall, which means he's going to be about a half a head taller than the Hasbro Power Rangers Lightning Collection Ninjetti Rangers. He'll also scale well with standard size Marvel Legends like the Scarlet Spider, Black Widow, the Classic Wasp, or the X-Men 97 Cyclops. He'll also be just a bit taller than most standard size ninja characters in the G.I. Joe Classified line. And he's shorter than McFarlane's DC Multiverse line, like the Crime Syndicate figures. He'll fit right in when posed with other 7-inch lines like Diamond Select's Lord of the Rings figures. And as part of the TMNT movie line, he's going to scale well with the first movie Turtles, April O'Neil, Shredder, a Foot Ninja, and Casey Jones. He'll also fit right in with the Secret of the Ooze Turtles. Here he is next to the Secret of the Ooze Shredder, Splinter, Kino, as well as the Danny figure. He's rather puny when compared next to Super Shredder, Toka Razor, and he's about a head shorter than Professor Perry. And finally, here's how Tatsu looks under black light. No effect, it's about what I expected, but I must say he does look good in a group. It's so crazy that after 4 years, we can finally pull off a scene just like this in our collection.
Good.
And as for my final thoughts, this Tatsu figure is pretty amazing. If you've been following the TMNT line for a while, then you know this is pretty much the last major character from either of the two films that fans have really been clamoring for. And once again, it seems as though NECA has been able to work their magic
and money
to get Toshishiro Obata to agree to use his likeness for this figure. The use of soft goods is really unique, and while his accessories don't have much significance to the movie, they add a certain flair to this character, especially if they are inspired by real-life items in his Shinkendo school. The negative is that right now he is a bit hard to find. Like most TMNT movie line figures, it is Walmart exclusive, and unfortunately, at least for right now, he's being limited to about 2 per store. The good news is he hasn't popped up in stock online as of this recording, so if you monitor Walmart's website or app, there's a chance you will get lucky. And I also have a feeling that this is just the first wave of this figure coming out. I bet pretty soon here he's going to become pretty abundant, so I'd hold off on paying those aftermarket prices just for a little while longer. But that'll do it for this review. I had a lot of fun with it. Let me know what you thought of it in the comment section below. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and share my video if you found it helpful or you think others might benefit as well. Stick around for a gallery at the end, and as always, collect responsibly.